Hello, you are watching and or listening to the Black by Reality podcast, a podcast for Black by baddies, those who love us. We are back to talk about Survivor 47, and I am joined by Kellie
Nalbandian of Survivor 45.
Oh my God! All right, so we're here at the final 8, narrowing it down. Was him talking about his family and growing up poor kind of also doesn't help his case at this point?
Yeah, I guess there's the way you present yourself in general is very important. And I think when you're somebody like Kyle, there's like a line you walk there. Like even if I think about like Suri, I feel like suffers from this same like perception of just being like so not only so lovable but playing for her family, blah blah blah. And like no matter how far she gets, she always gets sniped. So even if Kyle won out, like that also could have been a problem for him. It's like you can never be too likable, which is a little frustrating because I think Survivor ultimately should be a game about your social ability and your and strategy kind of like intersecting.
Mm-hmm.
But in the new era, it's pretty impossible to just do that.
That's a bold comparison. Kyle has Suri energy.
Like not even like Suri energy, but I think it's more just like the they share that's a problem that they share. But for Kyle, he also has this I'm an insane immunity beast. So
sure.
That like it kind of like is it maybe inconsequential? It's like consequential for Sue because she does not like this for whatever reason. But like I think his immunity threat is so big that like yes, maybe he could have like been a little less about this, but at the same time, like if you're not authentic to yourself, then people notice and feel it. So if this is who Kyle is, like, you can't really fault him for kind of like living that truth out there, right?
So Caroline's no, we gotta talk.
But I loved what she said. I even like tweeted like a picture of this because this is just sort of like a mantra that I love, that I believe in Survivor is like she said, I will go home earlier and play my game than make it to the end feeling like someone carried me.
Yeah.
And I think it's very tempting in the new era to be carried if you get in this like position of like no one's perceiving me as a threat. But it's also like Caroline was in this position of like she's sort of like this number 2, I guess, in terms of most strategic on Tuku. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, who wants to be that? Like you're not getting the credit and you're not the person that you're going to get dragged to the end. That's like almost the worst spot, right? Like either you want to get the credit and make it to the end and win, or you're going to get taken to the end and I don't know, maybe you can make something up at Final Tribal Council. I think that's very hard. But yeah, I thought that was great. I think Caroline is like always having these like very sly, quiet, but like poignant moments and lines. Mm-hmm. Even like what she like highlighted tonight at Tribal, even though it's ultimately Genevieve's quote, I was like, I just feel like she's very observant.
Too slick.
Yeah.
She too slick. I was like, I thought for sure that Genevieve was going out when she started quoting Genevieve to Genevieve, but
yeah. That's so funny though. Like Caroline, way to like friggin' gas up Genevieve at her lowest moment. Like I was like, okay, I kind of like that. I was like, that's impressive.
Tried to. I'm not going. I have to figure out what I want to say on Blue Sky because I do not want to say Skeet.
I know, same. I'm like, I've been blue skying. I'm like, that doesn't sound.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Someone was like, oh, like Sue's giving 1 vote finalist. And I'm like, I don't believe so. You think a woman like her age who has been like the one person to go up against Kyle over and over. And like Caroline, she was very close to Gabe, who was also a huge threat and protected. I think most castaways, if you get to the final 3, I think there's an argument they can make to at least get 1. I never like pinning any of them as a no vote.
Yeah, I think it's hard. I think it's like you kind of have to think about how the jury's going to vote because ultimately I think Sue will probably be able to make it far. There's no reason that she should be going. But right, like her ability to win the game is going to be based on players respecting her gameplay, which right now I'm not sure she has. Now it's only final 8, and I think like very much in especially a new era Survivor, you can make your move and make your mark once at 6, 7, or 5, and that can be enough to win you the game. But you have to do it. And so if this jury is going to vote very gameplay wise, which I would think they would skew that way this season. Like 46, I was like, oh, I'm not really sure. Some people are going to be emotional. Some people are going to be strategic based. This season, I think, is going to be a little bit. They're very gamey, so I think they're going to vote very game wise. But you can make the argument that if there's people who really care about Sue or feel like their game, they invested their game in Sue, then she could get their votes. Like maybe she could get Gabe, maybe she could get Kyle. Well, probably not Kyle. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like someone who she played the game long term with and they felt very connected to her. And or you can also have a jury member make an ego vote, right? Where they're like, I helped Sue get there, so I'm going to vote for her, right? So it's hard to say like with 100% doubt, oh, they're going to have no votes. But right now, I think it would be hard for her to beat most people, to be honest.
That's fair. Biggest threats
Here they are.
Supposedly are talking. That's Kyle, Sam, Genevieve. Okay, can I just be very honest?
Yeah, of course.
I don't think Sam's as big of a threat as he thinks he is. But
I'm even confused by like other people sort of labeling him that way. I think that he has like this ability to sway people a little more, and he's a little bit more like in the way that like Genevieve, like Rachel was saying, like, oh, Genevieve is playing, like she's approaching me with a plan. I think Sam acts like this. You know, he did like a couple weeks, it was like maybe 2 weeks ago. Like with the Saul vote and everything, I feel like he like tries to take charge, and you feel that about his energy, and so that is what gives him this like moniker. Whereas like he's really had no power the entire merge, frankly.
No.
Definitely, like to me, the most strategically threatening player left is by far and away Genevieve, and then the most physically threatening player is Kyle. And Sam is like, I don't know. Maybe he could have branded himself more of an underdog than he does, but it's hard. You know, you don't want to be branded too much of an underdog, because if you get to the end, no one's going to vote for you. So it's a really hard line to walk. But I thought this was a very interesting conversation, to be honest.
Yeah, I think you have to be a little more self-aware. And that's, I think, what I'm thinking of with Sam is like, how self-aware are you actually? Because you're self-aware enough that you didn't want to give up your shot in the dark because all these people aren't working with you.
Yeah.
But now it seems like you forgot that, and all of a sudden you're buddy-buddy with Kyle and Genevieve.
Yeah. And he was in the beginning of the merge after Sierra goes, he was kind of like talking to Andy, talking to Rachel, being like, oh, like we're screwed now. Like we're on the bottom. Like he had this idea of this underdogs thing first. He's like, let's be the bottom players rising up. And now he's somehow like gotten himself out of that, like not on purpose. Like that's not where he wants to be. But, you know, it's, I think I hear what Genevieve's saying. Like this is another thing that like when you're somebody who gets labeled like I was, you know, you really do, you have to play with other threats. You have absolutely no option. Unfortunately for Genevieve, there's very few left. So, and that's just sort of the way they've just kind of taken these big shots at like a Gabe, and, you know, even like Sierra or Saul, like we didn't really get to see their full potential maybe, but I think like they had more of like a obvious presence, right? Whereas like everybody else who's playing, like I think Rachel's very threatening, I think Caroline's very threatening, but it's in like a sneaky way. So I don't
end up pulling rocks. Do they provide rocks? I've never noticed this.
No, they do not. I think they did this in anticipation of no one wanting to go. Okay. That would be my guess on production's point. Because not the pre-merge journeys, none of them had rocks. They were just like pick who goes, and we ended up doing like rock, paper, scissors, and I don't remember what we did for the other one. Okay. But it was just like okay, who wants to go? Let's figure it out our own way. Or people would find sticks or whatever. Yeah. People have done that. Never have gotten rocks. I think they predicted that there might be people who would be like, no way. And then they were like, well, if everyone says no, we're going to force them to do the journey.
Yeah. I don't know if they provided it or it was like leftover paint, because I always have to remember.
I think they provided it because it said in the note, it was like, if you don't, no one wants to go, you're drawing rocks.
Got it.
Oh, you can't make a consensus choice. That's what they said.
Oh, okay.
Really. But let me tell you, I also looked online. I was like, what should I do before I train for Survivor? And I remember Sandra had posted something at one point being like, these were my favorite puzzle apps. And I downloaded all of them. And it was not this exact thing, but it was a similar sort colors. Yep. You have to do this, move them in between various different columns. I was like, Sandra knew. She was on it.
Sandra is good.
The experience.
The challenge where we are going to spell immunity, and balance it on a board, holding a rope, going back and forth. And oh my gosh, I wonder how long this took because it seemed to take.
They dropped a lot.
They did. I was rooting.
This is hard though.
Hard for Teeny.
I know. Oh, I was crushed. I really wanted Teeny to win. Teeny probably has my favorite like personality of the group, and I just feel like they really like feel warm. And I was like, oh, I want Teeny to have a W. You know, a lot of L's, and I want them to have a W. But
that would have meant so much.
That would have been so cute. Oh,
and
man.
Even Sue, because I think at that point Kyle dropped. Teeny was in the lead, and Sue was
and then Sue was technically next.
As long as it's not Kyle, Sue.
It was like really poetic for Sue to win immunity the week Kyle went home. Too bad.
Then Andy's smart. He's like, all right, I'm gonna switch gears. Kyle ain't doing nothing around camp. Kyle's just sitting there. If he's not wearing a necklace, he's basically useless. Genevieve over here is trying to get Teeny to not vote out Kyle. And also saying things to Rachel, and they seem to be considering it. But I think Caroline just was too much of a strong person.
It's hard. Like I really think Andy's idea is very sound. Kind of the same way I think even Genevieve's, like from their position in the game, like I think Genevieve's ideas sound, I think Andy's ideas sound, but like there's such a fear of like Kyle going on some immunity tear. I don't know how I don't know how to convince other people to not do that. It's going to be so hard. Like people want to win immunity also. That's sort of thing like people want to have that. And if you feel like you have no chance, like that kind of sucks.
Got to get your Survivor bucket list
down. As people say often.
Exactly. So basically after this, we're left to, all right, who's it going to be between these two? We go to Tribal. Sam and Kyle start things off by saying we're such big threats. And it's like, chill.
I mean, Kyle, like, I think he ultimately ended up in the right place where he's just like, am I even really a threat? Like, I have done nothing strategically, which is the play he's got to make. And I guess, like, you know, I think I was having this argument with somebody the other day. Like, if Kyle wins every immunity, does he just win Survivor? For me, I'm like, I don't know. Like, yes, that's very impressive. But, like, if he's done nothing strategically, but, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if that's as big of a problem as everybody's making it out to be sometimes.
I don't know, though. I mean, you can tell me better. You're from Survivor 45.
No, but...
And I would think most jurors also, and this is for every game, the meta part is just how you want your season to be remembered, and you get remembered by who that winner is. If that winner beats almost everyone else in single most wins for a season, because I think 5 is where we're at. Yeah. And it's a long...
That would be cool. If they actually won every single one, that would be literally insane. I don't think that's ever going to be possible to be done.
Probably not. But if you do, should you
hand it to them. I don't know. I was such a strategic vote juror. Like, I was you better show me why you were smarter than me, or why you know, like that was what. And I like to see the fun strategy moves. That's like my favorite part of Survivor. But I think, yes, if he actually won every single one, then maybe we got to give it to Kyle.
Maybe. And it will be a rares. I don't think everyone's going to be able to do that after him.
Yeah, I feel like they've been a lot of balancing challenges, but I feel like they diverse, like there's puzzles, there's physical things, like to be good at all of those things, not even good, but better than everybody else every time would be crazy.
But I think everything he's won has been physical.
Pretty much, yeah. The early merge challenges were very physical. I mean, they were some of them were more like hold it steady, but still ultimately physical, not mental.
It's like core. He got core, he got grip strength.
Yeah, he probably he probably would have been better on the pole challenge than anybody if he got the chance.
Surprised we didn't get that this season. But yeah. So from there, basically Sue can't help but roll her eyes.
She's on brand, you know. I do feel like, we got a few salty exits this season, so hopefully I inspired the I didn't think I was salty. I was just shocked. But
it was absolute shock.
yeah. I was just and sad. Really, I was mostly sad. I don't know how, but like I do like that is part of my legacy is hopefully people now feel more comfortable to live their truth in that final moment, which I think Kyle still did here. Like this is his how it is. But we had Annika, we had a couple people this season like really genuinely upset, which I'm like, you should be sad to lose Survivor.
I do think your quote is so much easier than freaking what Caroline held on to.
That's true. It's a little more memorable. I don't remember saying it at all.
I know I saw that when I looked it up. Yeah. Saul brings out the vest today, but with a long sleeve underneath.
And
Saul,
the very bright yellow pants.
Saul, we need to pull back.
This is going to be great, though. We're going to have like every week new Saul looks that we can rank. That can be maybe if, unfortunately, you can't celebrate the black moment of the episode, you can celebrate Saul's iconic jury outfit. And maybe Gabe, that's where we can get it. Gabe can come in with Saul and serve. The jury is serving, so we are happy for them there. Oh my God.
Is there anyone you're specifically rooting for at this point?
You know what? Not fully, like I think that's one of the things I'm missing a little bit, but like I was definitely rooting for Rachel a lot because I think she's really smart. The amount of advantages makes me a little like, I still rooting for her because I think she's like a really smart player. I'm looking forward to Caroline's come up too. I like her like kind of rise from the ashes moment here with like what she said like at the beginning of the episode. And then I really love Teenie. I think something so endearing about Teenie that's like just like you can't really put in words, but I do want to see Teenie. I love Genevieve too, but I would like to see if Teenie could get some revenge on Genevieve. Mm-hmm. That could be very juicy, And I think Genevieve would take it well, ultimately.
I think Teenie needs to get blood on their hands before this finale in like a major way. I think everyone obviously loves Teenie, but it's still going to be like, Teenie, what did you do? That wasn't like pre-merge, because pre-merge, Teenie would have won.
Literally, I know for sure. I think that there's like there's really a few people who like maybe not quite Marianne. Marianne did a little bit more, but like you had someone like Marianne really emerge super controlling at the really right now at this like 7-6 point. So if you have like enough momentum going into Final Tribal, these next two episodes could be really critical for whoever wins the game, because at this point no one has really like a lot of people have gone like Kyle vote, okay, Gabe vote. It's kind of like consensus-y. So who gets credit for something really impactful is going to move the needle, I think, on the winner.
Yeah, I think Caroline and Rachel.
They're my top two candidates right now. But you never know.
Never know.
Maybe Sam too. Of course.
We'll see. Thank you so much, Kellie.
Of course. Well, thanks for asking. I'm very honored.
Oh, where can people follow you? What are you up to?
So my Instagram is Kellie Nalbandian, just like how it's spelled. I'm on Blue Sky now. It's Kellie Nal because my name is so long. And then, I'm just like working my normal nurse job. I just got a new job as an NP, so I'm going to be starting that in a couple weeks. And you can add me on Cameo. I got a Black Friday sale going on right now. Yeah, I'll be around.
Get on that Cameo. It's holiday season, and I know you have Survivor fan friends, so
love that.
Get on it. And I am your host, Nicole Weaver, guys. Please follow Black by Reality across all socials. Right now, we're continuing our Survivor recaps, but it's getting colder in the season, and in January, the Traitors.
Love the Traitors. Can't wait.
And we will be back with more recaps for that. So for now, thank you for watching and or listening, and stay visible, feel visible today. Bye.